In front of me I have an original Apple iPad, so it's the A4 chipset, it's not the iPad 2, and I wanted to show iOS 5.01 jailbroken with XBMC. Just give you a couple of hints and ideas of what to expect maybe from the performance of the original iPad. Now this will go along with exactly with the iPhone 4, same chipset, and performance is pretty much identical all the way. As you can see, I'm running 5.01 because I've got the notifications on the top, and I've got Cydia here on the desktop, so to speak, of the iPad to say that it's been jailbroken. One of the tools that this allows me to install on, apart from XBMC on the Apple iPad, is SB settings. So if anybody's using SB settings, it's a really useful little utility which allows you to get access to a host of different things like your Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, what IP addresses and everything else you use, and how much available memory is on the device. So as you can see, it says 121 meg at the top at the moment. As I open up different applications, that will go down, and performance can tend to slow down the less memory is available. It's actually a useful indicator to say that you've got quite a lot of applications running in the actual tray at the bottom. As you can see, there's nothing there at the moment, but if I start opening up applications, that can change. One of the other things about SB settings is it's always there, it's always accessible for whatever application you tend to be using. So for instance, if you're in a web browser like my web browser is Skyfire, I can easily say that, okay, this is kind of hurting my eyes on the text. I can drop the brightness down, or I can drop the brightness back up again quite easily without having to exit from the application and going back to the settings app. So let's turn on, actually don't want to go there, let's turn on Wi-Fi, and if I come along and, so for instance, if I give you Skyfire, you can see the memory usage is going down now. So 65 megabytes, you can see today's date, etc. on the BBC homepage. So I'm going to close that application, and you should see that a lot of that will come back. It won't go back up to 121, but it will start to creep back up a little bit. But what I'm trying to emphasize here is that if you're using XBMC, with the iPad 1, the only real limitation is memory. XBMC will use up a lot of memory, so try to have as minimal amount of applications sitting in the tray, open or in hibernation stasis, than when you're going to actually use XBMC. So let's start with XBMC itself. So if I click on the option here, you'll see, and once it loads up, it's running Eden Beta 2, which has come out this week, and I can easily now scroll from left to right and vice versa with XBMC running, as you can see, nice and fluid, quick response time on the iPad. People might not be aware of XBMC, but it's one of the best media playback devices and internet media playback devices that I've ever come across, or software solutions that I've come across. It also does other things like weather, for instance. You know, I haven't got anything particularly set up here at the moment, but let's just quickly add one in. Location, I can type in a location and say I want London. And done, and it'll go off, find London, and OK. And if I want to go back, hit the X, I suppose, and you should come up with information based around London, which there you go, and the forecast for the days ahead. Nice little app, which is useful for I guess for weather, obviously. Pictures as well, if you want to get access to pictures. Now you can add in network sources to get onto Samba shares or NFS shares or whatever else that you might have on your own personal network. Similarly, in this case, I have a media folder inside the file structure of the iPad that I can get onto, and I've copied some files onto there using the SSH protocol. So you can see there's 3 pictures, I can easily scroll between them and look at them, all looking beautiful. Quite useful to have full screen pictures, I guess. The resolution is 1024 by 768, and yeah, it looks quite nice. So again, if I want to easily watch them, I can do it. I can look at music, or I can listen to music as well. I can point it to MP3 files or any other kind of music file, web file, whatever, and it'll generally just play back, no problem. Navigation around the actual application of XBMC is quite simple. As you can see, I just use my finger to scroll left and right. If I select something, it generally takes me in there. You might get a little bit of issues every once in a while. And to go back, I tend to hold one finger on the screen and then tap with the other finger, and that takes me back. So one of the main things that people will use it for are videos. So you can get videos on files and add-ons. So what I'm going to look at, if I click on videos for a start, it gives me playlists, video add-ons and files list. I'm going to show files. Again, I've got some files copied up onto this machine, and what I've done is I've copied on a couple of AVIs and a couple of H.264s, so your XVids and your H.264s in AVI format for the XVid and in MP4 format for the H.264. It's not limited to those file formats. You can try other file formats. For instance, if you're using H.264 in an MKV container, it's perfectly fine, not a problem. What I wanted to show you initially though was if I try and run this trailer of The Proposal, which is an AVI file, and this is a really small file which you can see the quality isn't that great. I might have to adjust the volume here, we'll see. You can probably hear that. Again, if I click on the screen, it gives me all kinds of options. It tells me it's an MP3 soundtrack, 2.0, stereo, standard definition. And if I want to move up and down the trailer, I can just drag my finger across and there you go. So that's as you can see, playback is pretty fluid, no interruptions in video or sound, but again the quality isn't particularly spectacular, is it? Now if I went to a 480p AVI file, so I've got the trailer for the 2012 film from a few years ago, and again the quality in video is vastly improved, but we shall see. There you go, you're already hearing hitches in sound, and it's jittering as well, jittering. So what's happening here, again, it's running a 720p actually rather than 480. I thought it was 480. But what happened is the CPU is processing all of the video content for this file format, and it's not powerful enough to do it. So what you want is for the video proportion of the Apple iPad to be doing the processing of the video. And for video acceleration on files, you need MKV, or well, you need H.264 files. So typically they would be in whatever container, like I said earlier, in MP4 or MKV. So for instance, in these two scenes here, I've got the trailers for Serenity and the Simpsons movie. These are both H.264s, 720p in MP4 format. So let's go with the Simpsons first of all. Again, you can hit the button, you can get some information, 720p AAC, you can move the slider forward or back. But again, 720p quality video, looking absolutely spectacular on the iPad itself, the iPad screen, with no playback problems. Video, sound, all perfect. Stop it. So that's obviously an animated picture. So let's try Serenity, which again, these are all trailers. They're all freely available on the net. Again, a simple tap on the screen will render some of the information with the controls, etc. You can actually change some of the video options. You can see view mode, adjust the zoom amounts, post-processing effects, cropping black bars, video scaling methods, etc. You can set that as default for all videos and all different movie options. You can also do the same with sound. One of the nice things I think about this app is I can amplify the volume. In this case I've put up 21.3 decibels just because it makes it easier to hear on the smaller speaker from the iPad. Obviously if you're using headphones it's a lot better rather than just using the single speaker of the iPad. But again, there you go. I mean, the quality speaks for itself really. Flawless playback. And so that's that trailer over. So again, that's 720p content, and you might think, well, it's never going to get any better than that, surely. But I've got two trailers here for the Avengers and for Prometheus. Again, H.264 in 1080p format. So if I try Prometheus, you can see at the bottom here it says 1080p AAC soundtrack in stereo. Let's move it forward a bit. Hopefully the volume is coming across it. Try and maybe increase it a bit. Yeah, so there you go. Again, it's flawless even at 1080p. Obviously you're going to get a bigger file size, and there's probably a justification to say that it's overkill because you're not having a 1080p screen with the iPad. Again, it's 1024 by 768 resolution, but the fact that it can play it is real justification to the power of the iPad 1 as well as the iPad 2, because a lot of people might be blinded by the fact that they think they need the power of the iPad 2 to be able to do this kind of video playback, when really they don't. And it's the same for the iPhone 4 and iPhone 4S. They both will play back these video files flawlessly, as long as they're H.264. So again, let's move this forward a bit.
What are you prepared to do? No offense, but I don't play well with others. Big man in a suit armor. Take that away, what are you? Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
The Avengers movie out later on this year. Again, these are all trailers, and just to illustrate the point again, that the playback is there and it works fine. Not only on videos or files that you might be able to copy onto the iPad itself, but you've got add-ons, which I wanted to show you. Now, there are a section of add-ons that you can get quite easily off through XBMC itself, and you can add in your own. Now, obviously, being based in the UK, I can get access to applications that others that are not in the UK would get for TV broadcasting and things like streaming media from BBC iPlayer. So, for instance, for BBC iPlayer, I've got an app here for it. Again, it's TV or radio, it asks me, and I want to say I want to watch TV. I can watch live TV or choose one of the channels in particular categories, or I can say I want to watch what's the highlight at the moment, and it'll tell me, and I'll say okay, where do I want to watch? I want to watch Natural World. I can click on it, it'll start to cache it, buffer it, and there you go. So that's streaming directly off the net via Wi-Fi to XBMC. Again, I get the same options at the bottom. I can move it forward into the show and say, right, I was a little bit further in. You can see the performance of the picture is perfect. Again, I can stop it. If I want to exit out, I just keep ticking it back, and I'm up at the top, and I'm back at the main screen where I wanted to be before. You know, I can also say I want to watch live TV, so there's a TV catch-up application that's out at the moment in the UK, which is quite easy. So I can say I want to watch Channel 4, and there you go, it starts to stream live television straight to the iPad. Let's just stop that, because God only knows what that show is. But yeah, so you get all the other general Freeview channels. Whoops, and I've just moved the iPad, let me put it back. Okay, you get all the Freeview channels as you would before, that you would get over in the UK, but streaming live through the TV catch-up application. So African Cup of Nations football, which is on at the moment, and Of course, you get content from other internet sources, like for instance for gaming, for giantbomb.com. It's quite easy to link directly into their site using some of the applications, and I can go and say I want to watch a quick look of some of their excellent quick looks that they put up on their site. And you can say you want to watch Tiger Woods PGA Tour 13, and again, there you go, immediately streaming direct to your iPad.
Folks, I'm joined here today by Brent Nielsen. You are the executive producer.
Like I say, you can scroll it across to whatever part of the timeline you want it to be, and
you are right-handed, so just down to submit, and it's going to tell you that you're not going to get these certain things because you're not connected, but
flawless playback. So, and to show you how easy it is to get some of those applications, if I say I've got an option here called Get More, as you can see, it gives me all kinds of different options for like CNET podcasts and College Humor, Al Jazeera, what else have we got? Game Reactor, NASCAR X, God only knows. There's so many, it's ridiculous, but there's so many extras you can add in. But for instance, if I want to say I want to watch Revision 3, I install the application. You can see it's downloading. It's done almost immediately. There you go, add-on is enabled. So if I go back, I've now got Revision 3 here, which I can click on, and it will retrieve all the shows from their directory. So there you go, a list of all kinds of shows. So I can say I want to watch the Ben Heck show. What's new in Ben Heck? Again, it pulls off the directory of all the TV shows or the show lists for his particular show. And there you go, it says, right, I want to watch the latest one, the Hot Pocket Dispenser. Click on it and let it go off. Yeah, there we go. And start straight away.
The Ben Heck Show is...
Again, you can scroll it forward and back.
rigidity is pretty consistent.
There you go. Quite simple. Quite simple. Another interesting thing, or use of XBMC, is the scrapers. So, for instance, if I, for the media files that I had on here earlier that I showed you, if I try and, this is quite difficult sometimes for having it on the touchscreen. Let's have a look, see if I can get into it. There we go. Okay, so for the media files, if I go in and say I want to set content, and I'm going to point the scraper to movies, so it's going to go off to the movie database. I'm going to say run automatically, scan recursively to go into multiple folders, and do it now. So refresh. So you'll see on the top now it's saying it's scanning for movie information. It's found 2012 and Pirates of the Caribbean, and now I've got a movies tab on here. That's mainly because I've unhidden it in the settings within the skin of XBMC. It's quite easily done. But what will happen is if I go to movies, instead of having to go to all the files etc. and navigate through them, it now actually shows me the information on the actual film with a fan art background and a movie poster etc. So you can see it's carrying on through the rest. So let's go back, let it finish that. Now it's finished, so if I go back into movies, there you go, there's all the list. Let's see, what's the Avengers. You see it gives up the information, starts the picture, and again now when I click on it, instead of having just a blank screenshot, basically it has the movie poster. Okay, we can stop that. You get all kinds of different options as well for viewing, how you view your information as well. Big lists, you know, thumbnails of all the posters, so you know, there you go, it shows you information about what it looks like for each source. Poster wrapping, just fan arts, again, you know, you get all kinds of information, the length of the movie, the director, writer, etc. But yeah, that's a quick demonstration of XBMC, the performance on the iPad 1, just to show you what it's like, and hopefully that will maybe set you down the path of maybe jailbreaking your iPad and having a look at it, because I think it's well worth it. If anything, just for internet TV and access to all the internet content that's out there, it's actually quite useful. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.